Welcome back to a brand new episode of Charm City Beat. It is the playoffs. We are here. We're playing Saturday against the Houston Texans. It was a nice little bye week. We didn't do a lot of content. We kind of took it back a little bit, but we're here. We're here. Finally made it. Divisional rounds versus the Houston Texans. Fellas, how y'all holding up?
Yeah, I was taken aback by the Houston Texans' performance against the Cleveland Browns. That's one of the few things I didn't see coming was a blowout of Cleveland. I thought it'd be a good game. I did not expect Joe Flacco to throw two pick sixes. And all of a sudden, I think Ravens fans are a little more nervous about this upcoming game than maybe they would have been otherwise. I don't know your guys' thoughts, but Houston looks like they can play a little bit of football.
Yeah, Ross.
Like you said, they had 14 points from pick sixes, and it almost, as I've been seeing other people, it's almost as Cleveland was like, we're the number one defense. We're going to do what we do and not do anything different. And Flacco was like, okay, I can. He was everyone calling him. He's an undercover agent, by the way. He was always a Raven. I don't know. He's like, oh, you want the Browns out? I got you. But no, I mean, so they've been basically done what they've kind of did since week one against us, and I don't know.
Yeah, I personally, again, I fully expected it to be Joe Flacco Sunday Night Football in Baltimore. You could again, you can't write a better fucking script. But here we are. CJ Stroud is a bad man. Not the CJ Stroud we played week one. No. This is a grown man playing. This is just how fast he's advanced is incredible. Shout out to him and Jordan Love, two young bucks in the playoffs. They're having a great fucking weekend. But our focus, of course, is on CJ Stroud. Fella, who we going to do?
Yeah, I mean, we watched CJ Stroud 2 weeks ago against the Indianapolis Colts to get into the playoffs, and he was good. He wasn't like spectacular. I think the Colts rushed for over 200 yards on them, and it was an overtime game. So, like, I don't think anyone kind of saw what was about to happen a week later in Houston. How much of that was because they were at home? I'm not sure. I know the Cleveland Browns are a completely different defense on the road. They're like ranked 28th or something this year, which is like an obnoxious stat to me. But they also just threw the football all over the ballpark. And I'm just curious if that's going to travel with them or not, or if the Ravens can, run the football down their throats, which the Cleveland Browns couldn't do because the Cleveland Browns don't have a running back.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious how that goes. But I think the Ravens had an opportunity to not be surprised by CJ Stroud because they had a chance to watch him do his thing in prime time on Saturday night. And so now they know, they have to guard shots across the middle with Hamilton. They have to be aware of Nico Collins, double cover him. And then I think if they can do that, I think it's going to make it a little harder for CJ Stroud to do his thing because the Ravens had the personnel and defense that, quite frankly, I think the Browns had on the back end of that defense.
Yeah, I mean, they've already lost Tank Dell earlier this year. They now lost Noah Brown this week. As you talk about, you double Nico Collins, you take Dalton Schultz out. That's about all, and they don't really have a run game. I mean, the leading rusher, I think, this year had 800 yards and three touchdowns. And as you see, that's what works against us, and teams like to stop doing it for some reason. But, and like you said, can that travel outside? As people talk about later, the weather's not ideal for that.
Nope.
It's not a dome turf field with some speed on it, that's for sure. And I mean, I know we struggled with Kittle in the 49ers game. We had our struggles with, the wide receivers and the Rams. So I think there's vulnerabilities there. There's chinks in our armor, so to speak. But I do think that can they do it consistently is the big question. As long as the Ravens don't get beat deep, they gave up in the 20s. The Ravens give up as many yards as anybody. But they buckled down in the red zone, which is why they gave up an NFL low 16 some points a game, which is the stat I care about. I don't care about the yards that the Browns had. I care about those. And also the fact that they led the NFL in sacks and takeaways. So they're capitalizing when they get good opportunities. And I think that's the biggest difference between maybe what CJ Stroud saw last week and against Indy and what he's going to see in Baltimore on Saturday. And
Mike,
like you said, in cold weather.
Mike McDonald is known for go ahead, throw it in front of me. I don't care. We'll tackle you. We'll have 3-4 people come hit you. Go ahead, get into the 20s, then we'll stop you there. Ever since the first game he played against the Bengals, he's like, okay, yeah, no, that ain't happening again. I'm keeping everything in front of me, and it's worked. There's a reason why people want him. It's safe.
You're talking about they have the ability to play 3 safeties, which is incredible. Like Kyle Hamilton, Williams, and Stone. Teams can't get them deep. And Stevens ain't a bad corner either. And Omar Humphrey may not play. You'll talk about that later, Ross. But I mean, the Ravens have some good players in that defense.
Yeah, I think honestly, just looking at what the Browns situation was, again, the Browns, like you guys said, don't have anywhere close to the offense that we have. Their offense can't compare. Defense on the pass rush, maybe I'll give you some points for that. But this Ravens team, and I mean, I'm not even letting the hype go to my head. I'm being real. This is a real fucking team. This is a team built perfectly from the top to the bottom. Very few gaps in it that I can personally see. But no, I think it's going to be a really good game. I do think we have the edge. I honestly personally do. Without a doubt. I just think we have more athletes, we have more playmakers than they do, honestly. Yeah. But that note. Yeah, so I don't know. Do you guys watch Marlon Humphrey's podcast?
A little bit.
He had OBJ on this week. He had OBJ on this week, and this is a great episode, and it's going to lead into our next topic that we're going to talk about. Just the leadership on this team, the veteran experience that just OBJ has. I honestly, like I said, I think I said it last week, had a lot of questions about him. I really didn't know what was going to happen. Just watching his gameplay, just watching his maturity, and of course that podcast really let me know like he's locked in.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Ravens, that's a $15 million deal just to get him in the building so they could get Lamar Jackson in the building. But at the same time, you're bringing in a guy that has won multiple wide receiver titles, has multiple All-Pro awards. He might be going to the Hall of Fame. He's been to the Super Bowl. He's been around the block, and he's at a point in his career now where it's team then him, which is really unique when it comes to OBJ. I mean, I think this is a guy that early on in your career, like this is the most diva I've ever seen. And now you got a guy that's willing to have one catch against the Dolphins and he's excited about it. And so I think just having that leadership, like you said, in that huddle, something they didn't have in 2019, that's for sure. They had guys like Miles Boykin and Willie Snead, the third. Like, come on. Like, it's not even fair to Lamar Jackson what we did to that poor son of a bitch for 5 years. Like, we finally went out and got him receivers. We drafted Zay Flowers. They tried with, and I think, honestly, Bateman has been really good. And his separation is bar none in the NFL. He's going to get his drops, but he's come up with some big catches. And I think there's a big catch in his future coming up in his playoff run. Same with OBJ. I think that's why you get them for these kind of games.
Yep.
And so I think that's the biggest thing with OBJ. And on the defensive side of the ball, same thing, Clowney and Van Noy and guys like Pierce. Like I just think, and Roquan Smith. I mean, there's guys on both sides of this team that are anchoring this defense and offense in a way that we just never had with Lamar Jackson, and it's allowed him to just be him, and allows the Ravens to have success like you've seen. But yeah, call it OBJ.
Yeah, and how about the balls on Eric DeCosta? They say if you get on that plane to go to the Jets, don't come back. Oh. And OBJ was like, I was pretty sure I was going to go be a Jet. Then that happened. Okay.
Like
knowing that is who his not signed yet franchise quarterback wanted, and still be like, you leave. It's
off the table. Wow, like that's crazy. Like I remember hearing that, I was just like, wow. It really makes me wonder just how that re-signing process for Lamar really was. And again, these are stories we'll probably never find out. It'll probably be like some 30 for 30 in the future that they have about the Ravens organization or Lamar Jackson, where we'll find out. But damn, like EDC's cutthroat as fuck.
Yeah, and I think just the fact that all we spent this summer was talking about Lamar Jackson. Is he going to sign? Do we even want him back? Is he invested? Is he healthy? All this stuff. Now we're all eating crow, so to speak, because he's probably going to win a second MVP award. But I think it's just like that was the beginning of what has ended up being. Honestly, I think the Casa is your GM of the year, executive of the year, because of the Lamar Jackson deal, because of the fact that he's drafted really well of late. But in fact, all these free agents he brought in, he's built like the perfect football team, and he's kind of figured out this era of football. That the guys you got to have on a team to succeed. And so I think that was just like icing on the cake, if he gets it. But like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think OBJ was really the guy that sort of started getting this team going because they announced OBJ and then they announced Lamar Jackson and then we drafted Zay Flowers in like a span of like 48 hours or something. This remarkable football. I mean, the way that the fortunes of the Ravens turned on a dime in that moment, incredible.
It is. It's absolutely incredible. Again, talking about signings, Dalvin Cook, he's, they got rid of Melvin Gordon. He's gone. So what? Yeah, no surprise.
I knew he was gone the moment he fumbled and played 3 snaps in a backup game.
Yeah,
he's the backup, and he didn't play in the backups game.
Yeah.
What Dalvin Cook are we going to get, man? Because on the Jets this year, he was kind of a non-factor.
Yeah, he was on the Jets.
I think that I think it's a blessing that Gus ended up playing as much as he did in that game because he didn't get hurt, which means he's not hurt, but he's also not as rusty as he might have been. I think the fact that these guys who played is great. But I think personally with Dalvin Cook, I think you're getting a guy that's going to basically reinvent himself because of the stage that he's on. And he's going to come in his backup role, I think. He's not going to get a ton of carries, 8, maybe 10 carries tops. That's my prediction for him, but I think he's going to have some solid runs. I can see him busting off like a 13-yard run or something at a key moment.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we was knocking on Gardner that his first game he came here, we're running back heaven. It just works. I'm obviously not going to say he's going to be Keaton Mitchell, but he'll have the possible half the bursts of some of the other ones of these quick plays.
Yeah,
like I said, I mean, he was a Jets. He was behind. He was a backup there, and he was also behind the Jets line, which I mean, it's Jets.
The Jets.
Were we all shocked when he got traded before the year? Well, he didn't get traded; he got cut. Were you all shocked when that happened? Because I feel like he wasn't that bad last year, and then 2 years ago he was like arguably a top overall pick. He was like a number 1 pick in fantasy. So like I feel like he doesn't have a lot of miles on those tires the last couple of years. And he's not bad in the backfield as a pass catcher. I think he makes teams have to go, oh God damn it, that's Dalvin Cook. And that's all you really care about.
Yeah, no, like I said,
been a wash of that whole running backs wanting money and the people not wanting to pay running backs money. So like Vikings are like, yeah, we can probably get rid of this real quick. All right, we'll go with this guy. We're not going to pay him.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I personally wasn't surprised, at least from him getting cut from the Jets. Again, like I said, a non-factor. And like Ross said, he was definitely a victim of that shitty running back market, I think, at least when it came to the Vikings. But here he is here. A chance to reinvent himself. A guy that's definitely here because he wants a ring. No other reason. Hell, it's not even guaranteed he'll be here beyond this year. I don't know. But again, I think we're going to get him. I think we're going to get him playing his best. And with the way the weather is looking to be, and we've said this before, the weather look one way and it'll be a ground game or it'll be a game through the air. I honestly think it's going to be a ground game.
Yep, I think the Houston Texans will make it so, and the fact that I just think I saw that Colts game. I saw JT have 140 yards on the ground, and I just think that's. I mean, if you want to keep CJ Stroud on the sideline, that's how you do it. You knock off 4 or 5 yard runs to carry. You have Lamar run. I mean, they're going to throw the football. Don't get me wrong, but I think they're going to try to establish run early, especially it's a great way to knock off the rust. But I think
Mhm.
if you can spell Gus Edwards with Dalvin Cook, who's a little more lightning, that's super exciting. I'm all about it. And then obviously if Gus Edwards were to blow his knee out again, I mean, it's the Baltimore Ravens we're talking about here. Their team needs more fucking depth at running back than I mean the fact that
Wow.
we've been talking about Dalvin Cook is kudos to the fact that we keep getting hurt. I mean, this the last time we saw J.K. Dobbins was against the Houston Texans and he fucking had a great game. So I mean
Sure.
I think the Ravens remember that well. And I think Dalvin Cook is just another great quality back that you can probably trust him a little more than a lot of guys that are sitting out there in the open market.
Definitely. Moving on though, just players we've gained back. Mark Andrews. Actually, let's talk about the injury report because I do want to talk about a few players. Ross, what's up with that?
Okay, well, since you already started talking about him, I'll go right to hardball here. So Andrews took a really big step. What you saw, we saw as well. So it's encouraging. We'll just have to see how it goes. Now, I want to go to the official injury report of the day. It's Mark Andrews in IR designation was full participation. Another one that's been full. It's your guys' favorite kick returner. Never Duvernay was full back-to-back days.
Wow. What is he doing on the team? Like, what's his role right now?
Didn't we take him behind the warehouse and shoot him?
Taylor Wallace is hurt.
Oh, okay.
Wallace
Well,
has
why
a
didn't you
knee.
say that,
Days.
son of a bitch?
That explains why Justice Hill was returning. What was it like last week against? That explains that.
Zay was full again today. Zay was full today.
Good.
Malik was full. Duffy was full. The only other one that didn't play too anything was Humphreys, which we talked about. He's probably not going to play. We have one more practice. So yeah, I mean, don't think he's going to be around. Clowney didn't participate and he was sick. Looks like so he should be.
He's getting a veteran day right before the divisional game. That's crazy.
Officially says illness, so I said he'll probably be fine. But Ravens do have 3 open roster spots currently. Well, and we happen to have 2 people on IR designation, which are probably going to come back. So I'd count on Andrews being back in some form of capacity.
Yeah. What do we all think his contributions will be on Saturday if he comes out of that fucking tunnel? Which will be incredible when he does.
If he comes out that fucking tunnel, the non-roof is gonna blow off.
He's gonna come out. It's gonna be OBJ, and then it's gonna be Mark Andrews, and it's gonna be Lamar Jackson, and we are going to lose our minds.
Holy shit.
Collectively.
And we're all gonna be at that game. Let's talk about that, man. All 3 of us will be at the bank. It's gonna be cold. It won't be Kansas City cold, which is great, but it's going to be a really, really cold one. We're looking at a high of 26, a low of 19, with wind 15 to 25.
Yes, I think it's going to be closer to 19 at kickoff, which is amazing.
Once that sun goes down, it's all over.
It's a lot colder in Texas. A lot colder than Texas in a dome, no less.
You all rookie cold weather games. I was at the Christmas Eve game last year. 4 degrees.
Man, that's on you, man. That's on you.
That's you, bro.
That sounds like a you
was
problem.
That game? It was great. It was cold. It was
no,
fun.
I'm saying like how cold? What was the temperature?
I think they said it was like either. I think they said game time was like felt like 8.
Whew.
I mean, everything was frozen. It's great.
Difference between 8 and 9. That's 11 degrees. I just feel like once you get down to like 20, it's all relative at that point. It's all just layer up. It's going to be a cold one. I mean, obviously, we're going to pack the house. I have no doubt about it. That place is going to fucking rock.
Yeah, and Houston's not going to travel well. It's not going to be like if we play Buffalo or Kansas City in 2 weeks if we win this game. It's not going to – they're not going to travel well. It's Houston. They're a young franchise. It's Texas. Nope. They're cold as shit. They don't like that cold. No. I reckon it's going to be pretty heavy. I am excited to see Mark Andrews on the football field for the first time since he got hurt. We were all there the last time we saw him play. It's like I'm excited for the possibility that they maybe have finally figured out that you can put Likely and Andrews in the field at the same time. Like that's okay to do. You guys
Let's
can do
do
it.
it.
Don't worry about it. You
Look,
can have them
look,
both play. Run
luckily, we have
crosses.
an OC who did that in college.
I think they do it. I heard a stat today that 11% of the time they shared the field, Lamar had like 3 touchdowns, no picks, like a 75% rating. Like he did really well. And so I think they can take advantage of that. But mostly I think Mark Andrews, personally, I think we see him third downs, we
Mhm.
see him in red zone. I think they limit his snaps a little bit, kind of like OBJ early on. And you let Likely cook between the 20s. And I think that's honestly the best way to go about it. And just like keep these teams honest when Mark Andrews is on the field because they've got to do something with him, and then somebody's gonna get open, which is incredible.
Dude said he had the same injury T.O. had. He cracked his fibula, and apparently, Mark Andrews' girlfriend's family has a hyperbolic chamber just lying around.
Star Wars.
Well, they have that, but that's what he was handing out in.
It's like fucking Dragon Ball Z out here. All right, cool. We get Super Saiyan Mark Andrews for
What's
division.
with this team? Like, remember Ray Lewis with the deer antler spray, and then Terrell Suggs came back from a torn Achilles in Denver and was back by like fucking November.
Like we just
Like,
draft
what?
superhumans that are people with high-powered drugs.
That's true. That's true.
Andrews is going to be the Ray Lewis of our last Super Bowl run. Except
That's
not
what I'm. That's honestly it right there. That is, you got Mark Andrews coming back. I mean, again, we were all there. It was a very gruesome looking injury. It was not great to see, and having him come back off such an injury. This again, Jordan said it best. Mark Andrews, OBJ, Lamar, literally the rafters will fall. It's
Yeah.
good.
Do you think they bring them out? I guess they sent the email out. I didn't check it to see who's coming out of the tunnel. I can look it up, but I feel like it was like the Pro Bowlers or the all pros for the Steelers game.
They
They
did
mixed
the
it
Pro
up,
Bowl to the Steeler game.
and it was the offense for the Dolphins. So it would not shock me if it is the defense coming out of the tunnel, but we'll see.
Yeah, if we're gonna see. I think it's gonna be offense. If I had to, unless again, Ross, you looking up the email right now?
I don't think they sent it out yet.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
think it's that idea.
we will see. I could see it
I
being
don't-
offense just again. Defense is exciting. I played defense. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton. Like I think that I think it'll be a pumped up crowd, but I just feel like I don't know if they want to save the offense for the AFC title game or not. If they can
That's
we have to get
true
there.
because
We
there
got to
are
get there. We got to get there, but that will surely be prime time
Yeah, no question.
for sure.
I'm again. I mean, I'm really. It's gonna be a weird time. 4:30 is the kickoff. That's
It's Saturday, you guys. Like
It's
I'm gonna
Saturday.
wake up, go to my daughter's basketball game, and then immediately go downtown and just get hammered. Essentially.
there's really. I mean, here's the thing. It's gonna be 20 fucking degrees. That's all you have to do. Just get liquor,
And then-
like warm
And
yourself.
there's no work. There's no work on Sunday. You're just gonna
Fine.
watch
So-
football with some good people. You have to work. So, but
Yeah.
uh,
I'll probably take a half day.
you've earned it. You work Ross on Sunday?
No, I had to take off because I didn't know when they were going to play.
So you took out
Sure.
2 days?
I had to
Oh.
make sure I had both the weekends off. Then
Some
I was going to keep Sunday off.
recuperation.
Why not?
The Sunday games will hit harder if we win Saturday. If we lose Saturday, I'm not watching football on Sunday. I'm going to cry in a room somewhere.
Yeah. Sunday,
I struggle.
we got Kansas City versus Buffalo. This
Yeah.
will be Pat Mahomes' first ever playoff road game. That's a wild stat because he's been in the league for quite a few years now. That's a very crazy fucking stat. Like you've never
Yeah.
played anywhere else, but
Besides Super Bowls, then at Kansas City.
is it still like crazy snowing in Buffalo?
They're getting some stuff. I think it's going to be not snowing on Sunday. What a crazy game! I don't think Buffalo played all that well against Pittsburgh Steelers. Like they let them back in that football game.
Yeah.
They took advantage of some really bad quarterback play that I think the Steelers are so god awful that I think it made even same with the Cowboys and the Browns. Like I feel like it almost like makes these teams look better than they really are. And I just wonder if we are shocked by the moment and we're kind of forgetting it's Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. it's the 49ers and the Ravens, and you're about to see the adults have entered the chat. The children can sit the fuck down for a little bit. The Bills barely made the fucking playoffs. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they were left for dead a month ago. So were the Steelers, and the Texans had to claw their way into the conference champion. So I don't know. I just feel like they weren't that good 2 weeks ago, and I'm just curious how they're going to play this week if they can keep it going. The Packers are the most convincing team of the bunch, in my opinion.
Yeah, wow. Like, who had that? The second coming of Aaron Rodgers. Again, what is it? Green Bay literally has had what, 3 quarterbacks in like 30 years or some crazy shit like that? Like, that's insane. And they've all been playoff Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, except
Hall
for
of Famers,
Love.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. The formula is you have a quarterback, you draft one, you let him sit around for a while, you make the older one either go crazy or go off at an amazing season so you can trade him to someone, and then the other one will go in, and then you just rinse repeat. If Favre got traded to the Vikings and whatever, then it's Rodgers, and now Rodgers get traded to the Jets, and now we got Jordan Love's like, I'm ready now. I waited.
No one had more touchdown passes in the second half than Jordan Love. I just think that this is a guy that quietly has entered that upper echelon. He's going to get paid in the offseason or soon. And he's young. And God damn it, is all I can really say. The Packers found another son of a bitch. The Lions, you get 1 year, Lions. You earned it. Next year, it's the Packers again.
Yeah.
Jared Goff is Jared Goff at the end of the day.
I do wonder what situation we're going to have with the NFC, because again, it's like Tampa Bay versus Detroit, who I don't know if y'all watched the end of that Detroit game. It was a little wild. The camera just kept focusing on just dudes crying. It was just grown ass men crying. And I get it. Because again, if the Ravens win on Saturday, I probably will cry myself. And then they will freeze in my face and I'll have problems. But the camera just zoomed in on these guys just having this moment. And it was like every time you looked at it, it was like, what the fuck? Like, Jesus, man, let them live.
I mean, you try having 20 plus years. No one
No, I'm saying their emotions are valid.
No one has ever sent a text message about the Lions winning a playoff game.
No, their emotions are valid. It was like, wow, y'all, like the camera's just on them the whole time. Things are happening.
Old guy that kept showing.
That was cool. I
thought he was around the last time they won. Good God.
I thought that was awesome.
I think the Buccaneers win, by the way, against Detroit. Baker Mayfield is 8-1 as an underdog in his last 9 games. And I just feel like he don't give a shit. And I think that Detroit has to replicate last week. I don't know, man. That's a tough game for them. A lot of tough games. A great playoffs. Some great playoffs. I can't tell you who's going to win that Packers game. My money's on the 49ers because they just are a better football team all the way around.
Yeah.
It's a much better defense than Dallas and a much better offense, technically, than Dallas.
Yeah, no, I definitely think going forward, I got Green Bay actually upset in San Francisco. I could see that happening. Again, there's a lot of young sheriffs in the NFC right now, but there can only be one. And I think Jordan Love is him. I really do. I think that's for sure. And after what we saw, Jesus, Tampa Bay. I don't think Tampa Bay beats Detroit. I will say that again. What happened last week, man, that was inspiring. That was probably like top 10 sports moment of like.
It was a great game. Plus we had Stafford returning to Detroit. There's all these little, guys on the sideline. I really think that that's one of the greatest games I think we've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I think atmosphere-wise, one of the greatest games of all time. And I think it just the way it ended, like they earned every fucking point they got, and just like what a great game, like the only good game of the weekend. Because I think the Eagles are another one of those teams that is a fraud, and I just think that it made the Buccaneers probably look better than they really are. And so I think a lot of these teams have the same thing. We were talking about the Browns 2 weeks ago. How they're so great. They weren't that great. We were just married to the moment because they were beating teams like the fucking Jets and Bears, Flacco. And I think we're seeing that last week, and with the 7-team flawed wild card, that I think certain teams weren't that good. And now I'm just curious how good Houston really is. And on the road in Baltimore in 18-degree weather, in one of the most raucous stadiums in the country, with a defense as good as the Ravens, can they fucking bring it? And we're gonna find out, boys.
Yeah. No, 100%.
The Green Bay is the first 7 seed to win. I believe they said
2 years of it.
7 seed in.
Mm.
Just like I said, half the time, like Jordan's pointed out, the 7th seed, it was like, oh, that team should have made the play. No, they actually shouldn't have. That's why they're the 7th seed.
But how many times, like, they're the team that was hot down the stretch, that struggled early on, that we gave them, that they found an opportunity to get in, and they're the team you don't want to play. Like the Texas Rangers in baseball, like, that's the team that's clicking right now. It wasn't the 49ers, it's the Packers. So the 49ers had to deal with that monster of a team that no longer gives a shit because they're playing with house money, with a quarterback that's slinging it as good as any quarterback in the NFL. That would terrify me as a 49ers fan.
And it probably does. Again, that's going to be nuts. It's going to be a very crazy game. Again, like you guys said, this is a great playoff. We're going to have some really, really good football coming up. They gave Baltimore a good, again, most of the day to get drunk, to get down to the bank. Insulate, layers, wear your layers, because we don't need anybody freezing to death. But just get loud. I literally, again, I've had the opportunity to go to a playoff game before, and there's nothing like M&T Bank in the playoffs. And I mean, yeah, it's just gonna be fucking insane.
It's gonna be a party atmosphere. I think I think it's a celebration of the team and the celebration of us as fans all coming together. And of course, the poor Houston Texans have to deal with it. Oh, I heard a stat today. I meant to get this in this thing. They are like the worst offensive line in football on the road. Like they lead the NFL in false starts, and they're among the worst in sacks given up on the road against a team that leads the league in sacks. So I think that's interesting to note. They're coming out of their dome, and unlike the Cleveland Browns, that it's Garrett. Who knows where it's coming from. They pretend so many things that Mike McDonald does with this defense and playing games pre-snap and everything, and it ends up being mauled off the edge. So it's this interesting dynamic, and you have Matabuke who's leading all defensive tackles and sacks, and he's second team All Pro, and it's just like the pressure's coming in your face and on the edges, and I think it's just a different look. And to you guys' point early in the game or in this thing, much different team than the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and I think this is where, the different with him being a rookie, I think this is where this is going to come into place. That's a scary defense to see. That is a very terrifying defense to just play against because, again, like you said, you have no idea what gap the rusher's coming through. You have no idea. It's just constant attacking nonstop, and eventually that just beats you down.
Yeah. Do you guys remember how well and sound we played defensively in the playoffs last year? Like, we found another switch, and I have a bad feeling that it's happening again this time, where it's like guys are just going to find that next level, and guys like Owe are going to play out of their minds. And I think that was like Hamilton's coming out party last year with that forced fumble against our former first-round tight end. And so I just feel like it's happening again, and these guys are going to play hard. And these are games. This could be Patrick Queen's last ride as a Raven. Matabuke's last ride as a Raven. You meet Clowney, but so I think they're gonna leave it all out in the football field. And we're 2 wins away from the fucking Super Bowl. So they're gonna be playing out of their mind, and I just don't know if the Texans, after what they did last week, can match the intensity of the Ravens this week. They're gonna have to almost invent themselves because they're not gonna have the crowd on their side.
Yeah, not a question. Oh my God, here we are. We've it's been quite a season so far, but the ride ain't over. This is awesome. This is what we do this for, to get on here, talk playoffs, get drunk at football games, and have a good fucking time. Before we go, any last words, Jordan?
I think the last couple of weeks while the Ravens have been off, you've been seeing all these coaches getting fired, and what a weird year for coaches. I mean, you've got Belichick is a free agent. Jim Harbaugh, who's been to 3 NFC championships in the Super Bowl, and he just won the national title. So you've got 2 of the greatest coaches of all time on the fucking available for being picked up. But then the Ravens have been all up in it. So Machin has interviewed with some teams. McDonald has interviewed with some teams. I think teams want Anthony Weaver to interview. I think I've seen teams linked to former Ravens coordinator, now defensive coordinator for the Michigan Wolverines. I forget his name, but I think somebody's not coming back, and I think that's going to be really interesting. But I think it just shows you how important this run is for the Ravens. You've got something special here that I think is once in a lifetime, because on top of these coordinators, Patrick Queen may not be back next year because they're going to have to pay people because it's just what it is. Matabuke is probably getting tagged, but he's in his contract year. You've all these veterans that you've signed. Who knows up with Humphrey? Who knows what's going to happen with Stanley? Gus Edwards is a free agent next year. And with Lamar Jackson's contract, unfortunately, you can't pay all these guys. So I mean, this is a great team, a once in a honestly maybe franchise kind of football team. And so I think they really have to take advantage of it because next year, for all we know, Monk is going to be in Carolina coaching that quarterback, and McDonald's going to be in fucking Washington or something. And it's just like, that's it.
Wow. Yeah. No, you said it perfectly. Damn. Like I've
seen that list basically. Hey, look at all these free agents and look at all these coaches that have been interviewing. Not even just our coaches have been interviewed for D coordinators. They're trying to poach our front office again for multiple people.
There's a reason
trying to get poached to go places, and
I think head of scouts leaving. Yeah.
He goes. He's gonna take people he knows. Like Jordan pointed out, these people are here now. As of now, you're not going anywhere right now. Got to make this run now.
I assume, and I'm almost guarantee you that's going to be the pregame locker room conversation. Is like, men, this is special. Let's go out and let's make some music, and then Roquan's gonna say some fucked up shit pregame, and everyone's gonna get so fired the hell up. I think we're seeing a magical Hollywood moment, and as long as the Ravens don't beat themselves, they don't turn it over early. I think they can blow any of these teams out, like we saw against the Dolphins and the 49ers. They went down against both those teams, and they battled back to win big. So I think that is also the message that they're going to say is like, if we go down, if Houston opens up with a touchdown, I think we're all going to be thinking it, but they're not going to be thinking in that huddle. They're going to be thinking, let's answer, like they did against the Dolphins, like they did against the 49ers.
Yeah. Again, this is a much different team than years past. This is a very mature team. Like you guys have both said, this is a team where a lot of guys have a lot on the line. Straight up. We're gonna get some of the best Ravens football, God willing. It's gonna be cold as fuck though. I don't think that makes much of a difference just for the Ravens gameplay. But it's going to be an absolute super factor for the Houston Texans, who are used to comfortable temperatures and perfectly manicured fields and not. Listen, it's going to be 20 degrees, and that's going to feel like playing on asphalt. I've played on football fields that cold before, and that shit hurts. It's going to be a brutal game. And that plays to the Ravens, just their style of football. As Pat Queen said, a style of football that no one wants to play. And you got to play that shit in literally a winter tundra. Yeah, good luck.
Amen.
Yeah, that does it for our show. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We will be back next week, no matter what the outcome is. But, if you're going to be there Saturday, this is straight up a war cry. Get out there. Get loud. Let's get in CJ Stroud's head, and let's keep this shit going, man. This has been great. This is a great team to watch. One of the better teams we've seen in the most recent years. Go Ravens.